Hello legends, let me show you different steps that you can use on split. Let's start with site A. For the first step, use this camera.
Goes here.
Your first tripwire
Yes,
here,
this should do.
second tripwire
Wow,
here,
this is a nice spot.
drop a cage here, and a cage here,
Yes, this should do.
and play from here. For the second setup, we will use the same camera.
This goes here.
Have your camera here. Use this tripwire,
Wow, this is a nice spot.
second tripwire,
Yes,
use
this
this.
should do. That
Have a
goes
cage
there.
here, and play from here. For the third setup, you will use this camera.
Goes here.
The first tripwire here,
Wow, this is a nice spot.
second tripwire here.
That goes there.
Have your cage here,
Goes here.
and play from here. For the fourth setup, we will use this camera again.
That goes there.
For the first tripwire,
This goes
use this
here.
one. Second tripwire,
Yes, this
use
should
this
do.
one. Have your cage here again,
This is a nice spot.
and play from here. For the fifth setup, we will play in heaven in case they keep pushing heaven and so on. For the first tripwire,
Wow,
use this one.
is a nice spot.
Second tripwire,
This goes here.
use this one. Have your cage here,
Should do.
and play your camera here.
Wow, this is a nice spot.
And you can watch in here. In case they trigger it, take them down. For the sixth setup, use this camera again.
Yes, this should do.
Your first tripwire here,
This goes here. That
drop a
goes
cage
there.
there. Second tripwire here,
This should do. Wow, this
and a
is
cage here, and play from here. For the seventh setup, use this camera again.
goes here.
Your first tripwire here,
That goes there.
second tripwire.
Yes, this should do.
Drop your cage here,
Nice spot.
and play from CT. For the eighth setup, you'll use this camera again.
Goes there.
Your first tripwire here,
Goes here.
and second tripwire here.
This should do.
This require to stop agents like Jet and Raze and Waylay when they dash into heaven, so you will be able to counter them. For the ninth setup, let's use this camera again.
Nice spot.
Your first tripwire
This goes here.
goes here.
That goes there.
That's for heaven players. Second tripwire,
Yes, this
you
should
play it here. Have your cage here, and you can play from here. If you want to close vent, it's simple, just have a tripwire here.
goes here.
This will make sure no one can sneak in from vent into A. Now it's time for B side. For the first setup, let's jump here in this box. Jump throw.
Yes, this should do.
This camera is the best one you can use in this area because you can see heaven and you can also get early information from main. For the first tripwire, use this tripwire. Second tripwire,
This goes here.
use this one. And you can play this with one way. Just aim at this area
Yes, this should
and throw your cage. Once they trigger it, you can activate your own way or have a cage here and play it from there. For the second setup, you'll use the same camera.
That goes there.
Your first tripwire goes here. Second tripwire
Yes,
goes here.
should do.
Have your cage here
There.
and play it from here or from here. For the third setup, if you want a hidden camera that you can get information with without them seeing it,
This goes here.
use this camera. You can see people in B site who's entering from main. You can also see people in heaven. For the first tripwire, use this one.
This should do.
Second tripwire,
This is a
use
nice
this one.
That
Have
goes
your cage here. Play from here or from here. For the fourth setup, you'll use the same camera again.
there. This goes here.
Use your first tripwire here.
Wow, this is a nice spot.
Second tripwire, use it
That
here.
goes there.
Have your cage here
This should do.
and play from here. For the fifth setup, this time we will play a setup on heaven in case they keep pushing from mid until heaven here going to B. For the camera,
This goes
use this
here.
camera. You can see them. First tripwire goes here. Second tripwire goes here. Have your glitch here. And play from here. For the sixth setup, use this camera again.
This goes here.
For the first tripwire, use this one.
Is a nice spot.
Second tripwire,
Yeah,
use this one.
this should do.
Have your glitch here.
Goes there.
Play from here or from here. For the seventh setup, use this
Is
camera.
a nice spot.
Your first tripwire goes here.
Goes here.
Second tripwire
That
goes
there.
here.
Yes.
Have a gauge here and play from here. For the eighth setup, use this camera again. Your first tripwire here just to close heaven.
Oh, this is a nice spot.
Second tripwire, you play it inside.
That
This
goes there.
tripwire
This
and
goes
your gauge
here.
here. Or play it runway. And that's it. For mid control, you need to use this tripwire. Make sure it's lined up with the head so that it can jump or go under it. And also you can use this one in case you want to hold them off pushing into B. Now let's go for attack. Let me show you a tripwire you can use to hold flanks. Use this tripwire. Make sure it's head level so they can't go under it or jump over it. And jump here. Line your crosshair with this area. Aim here. And throw your camera. This camera can show you if someone is sneaking or trying to push you off. And you can see until CT. For B side, you'll use this tripwire. Make sure it's head level so they can't jump over it or go under it. This tripwire is meant to hold people coming from spawn or from mid, not people coming from garage. If you want to hold people coming from garage, use this tripwire. This will hold them off. If you want one way to use on post plant,
Here.
stand in this corner. You see this line? Go in this area a little bit low and throw. Once you activate it, you can see people and take them down. And from this area point of view, like you see, they cannot see you. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and make sure to leave a like and subscribe to my channel so you cannot miss the next trip and tip for Cypher. Thank you.